You are listening to the AI World Podcast, your trusted source for the latest innovations, insights, and trends in artificial intelligence, blockchain, fintech, and decentralized technologies. Each episode features expert interviews, engaging discussions, and in-depth analysis of how AI transforms industries worldwide. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest articles and exclusive reports from the AI World Journal, covering everything from emerging technologies to industry breakthroughs. For more news, global events, and access to AI World Society circle gatherings, visit us at aiworld.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed, stay connected, and be part of the AI revolution with AI World Lounge. Thank you for listening.
Hey there, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're asking you to maybe just take a moment and consider your daily digital footprint. Think about every photo you post, every comment you make, maybe even just those fleeting thoughts you share on social media. Now, what if we told you that this whole tapestry of your digital expression, something that feels so personal, right, has actually become this massive, largely invisible pipeline, constantly fueling the training of artificial intelligence systems? Okay, let's unpack this a little bit.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that this isn't some, far-off future possibility. It's happening right now. Major social media platforms, think Meta, X, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Reddit, they're routinely using your user-generated content, using it to develop and refine AI models for, well, everything from the chatbots you might interact with to the latest generative AI tools. So in this deep dive, we're going to really pull back the curtain on exactly how this process works and, crucially, look at the significant implications for your privacy and maybe what steps you can take to maintain a bit more control.
Right. So when we talk about this hidden data pipeline, it's not just a small thing. We're talking billions of people sharing content every single day. All those publicly shared posts, photos, videos, your interactions, they aren't just for your friends or followers anymore. They're actively contributing. They're a huge resource for developing AI.
Precisely. And it goes far beyond just general data collection. This is really about human expression itself, your unique way of communicating. That expression becoming machine learning data. These AI systems, they learn from real-time human language patterns. They're absorbing everything, the latest slang, regional expressions, even the subtle emotional tones in your posts. And they're extracting cultural behavioral cues too, which helps them understand not just what you're saying, but how you're saying it, and maybe even why. It's incredibly difficult and expensive to synthesize that level of nuanced, real-time human interaction artificially, which is exactly what makes our everyday posts such a uniquely potent and, well, essentially free training ground for AI.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you listening right now? It's one thing to talk about this pipeline abstractly, but how does it actually play out on the apps we're scrolling through every day? Maybe let's start with a giant like Meta.
Sure. Meta, which, covers Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, it genuinely has one of the most extensive AI training infrastructures globally. They utilize publicly shared posts, photos, videos, comments, and yeah, in certain contexts, even private messages, believe it or not, to train their AI models. These models are really the engine behind features like your content recommendations, facial recognition, automated content moderation, and of course, their expanding suite of generative AI tools. Their goal is always to analyze how users react to content, basically to predict what keeps you engaged, keeps you scrolling longer.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, shifting over to X, formerly Twitter, it's always been defined by those rapid-fire conversations, right? How does that real-time, short-form nature, all those trending topics, how does that make it particularly valuable for AI training, especially compared to, say, Meta?
Oh, X's real-time stream is just gold for AI, trying to understand current events, detect emerging slang, gauge public sentiment literally in the moment. The rapid response cycles. They provide an immediate feedback loop. And yeah, X has been pretty open about using this data to power its own AI initiatives like the Grok AI system from xAI.
Right, Grok.
And the vast majority of posts on X are public, which just means they're readily available for AI training unless a user specifically opts out or, sets their account to private.
Okay, switching gears again, completely different kind of platform. LinkedIn. Here, it's not about viral memes, it's professional discourse. How does our professional data get tangled up in AI training?
Well, LinkedIn offers this distinct Professional data trove. Your posts, the articles you share, job descriptions, all those professional interactions, they're actively training AI for recommendation systems, job matching, even those networking features. And it's worth noting, LinkedIn actually drew some attention for kind of quietly using user data without very prominently informing users, which really highlights the immense value of that professional content for training business-oriented AI tools. Systems focus on like workplace communication.
And then there's Snapchat, very different. Again, heavy emphasis on visual communication, photos, videos, those AR filters. What kind of training data comes from that?
Snapchat collects really unique data on how younger demographics communicate. That includes evolving slang, unique visual codes, stuff like that. This visual-heavy data is crucial for training computer vision AI, powering their AR features, and even automated captioning. And what's fascinating is even the ephemeral nature of some Snapchat content, the messages that disappear.
Yeah.
That doesn't actually prevent the company from analyzing patterns and learning from that content before it vanishes completely. The patterns of communication, the filters used, the reactions, it all contributes.
Okay, last one on the list for now.
Oh.
Reddit. It's got that unique structure, right? All those incredibly specific niche communities. How does a platform built on subreddits contribute to AI training?
Yeah, Reddit's structure creates these remarkably specialized data sets. Just imagine anything from highly technical programming discussions to really detailed conversations on specific medical conditions. This gives AI systems deep, specialized knowledge and insights into very particular communication patterns. Plus, the voting system on Reddit, the upvotes and downvotes, that actually helps AI identify quality content and understand community consensus. And it has been reported that Reddit has also shared user data with third parties for AI training.
Oh, interesting.
Which definitely raises more privacy questions depending on what was shared and how well it was anonymized.
So we've talked about how your content is used across these platforms, but this naturally leads us to maybe the bigger question. What does this mean for our personal privacy? Do we really have a say in any of this?
Well, this brings us to what's often called the opt-out paradox. It's a bit tricky. See, most platforms automatically include user data in AI training by default. They basically place the burden of privacy squarely on your shoulders.
Right.
You, the user, have to manually dig through these lengthy terms of service agreements or find these sometimes hidden, complex privacy settings.
Yeah, they're never easy to find.
Exactly. Just to find and toggle these options off. Companies just sort of assume consent unless you explicitly state otherwise.
And this burden gets even more complicated when you look globally, right? The regional differences. Like in the European Union, they have GDPR. The General Data Protection Regulation explicitly requires consent. And that actually led companies like Meta to pause AI training on EU user content for a while.
That's a really key distinction. You contrast that with global practices, where these same companies just continue their data use outside regions with strong privacy protections like the EU. It creates this really inconsistent landscape of user rights. Basically, your privacy protections can depend heavily on where you live rather than some universal standard.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting. Maybe a little unsettling. It's not just algorithms crunching this data in the background. There's a human element too. There have been reports, right? Contractors working for Meta actually reviewing chats containing personally identifiable information, PII, including like intimate and sensitive conversations, specifically to train AI.
Yes, that's been reported. These human reviewers, they provide feedback to improve the AI system's performance. That's the justification. But in doing so, they gain direct access to what you would absolutely consider your most private digital exchanges.
Wow.
It adds this whole other layer to the privacy concerns because, like you said, it's not just an automated system processing your data. It's potentially unknown individuals seeing very sensitive information.
And beyond the direct privacy invasion, there's another big challenge for AI when it trains on social media content. Because let's be honest, online platforms can be, well, rife with misinformation, stereotypes, problematic content. How does that impact the AI being built?
That's a huge risk. When AI trains on this kind of real-world, often unfiltered data, it absolutely runs the risk of learning and then perpetuating those problematic patterns. For instance, an AI might inadvertently start associating certain demographic groups with stereotypes it learned from the data it consumed. Or it might give undue credibility to false claims that just happen to go viral. This can inadvertently amplify societal divisions or, spread inaccurate information at scale. And then there's the constant challenge of interpreting things like slang, sarcasm, memes.
Right, things that change so fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
While these evolving language patterns help AI stay current, They're inherently difficult for AI to interpret correctly. It often leads to misinterpretations or sometimes just inappropriate responses.
So, taking a step back, when companies are using our personal content, our photos, our thoughts, our creative expressions to train these valuable commercial AI products, it does raise a fundamental question, doesn't it? Are our contributions basically just an unpaid resource for them?
It absolutely does raise that question. Most users, I think, don't realize that their creative expressions, their photos, their thoughtful comments are being used to train AI systems that might generate significant revenue for these tech companies. This practice really brings into question whether users should have more control over how their content is used, or perhaps even share in the value that's created from their digital contributions. It's a whole emerging area of discussion about, digital labor and IP in this new economy.
Okay, so look, while this landscape is definitely complex, maybe a little overwhelming, there are concrete steps you can take to protect your privacy. Let's try and walk through some opt-out strategies, platform by platform, and then maybe some general approaches. What about LinkedIn? You said that was more straightforward.
Yes, relatively speaking. For LinkedIn, you navigate to settings, then select privacy, look for something like data for generative AI improvement, and you toggle that option off. But, and this is important, remember, this generally only applies to future data, not anything they've already scooped up and used.
Oh, okay. Good caveat. And for X, to stop your posts being used for Grok AI training.
For X, you'd go to Settings, then Privacy and Safety, find Grok Data Sharing, and disable it. And you can also, of course, make your X account private entirely, though that does limit your visibility and reach on the platform, so it's a trade-off.
Right, trade-offs. And Meta, you mentioned it's more complex there. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp.
Yeah, Meta's approach is considerably more complex, unfortunately. You really need to navigate to the privacy settings on each specific platform, Facebook, Instagram, maybe WhatsApp, depending on the feature. Look for sections related to AI or data used for research, and then you often have to submit specific objection requests through these sometimes quite buried settings. Public content is often just considered fair game unless you proactively object. It can require a bit of a treasure hunt, frankly.
Sounds like it. So if we try to connect this to the bigger picture then,
Yeah.
what universal advice can you offer? Strategies that work across most platforms.
Okay, if we connect this to the bigger picture, some universal advice would be, first, consider making your accounts private wherever possible, if that fits how you use the platform. Second, limit the amount of really personal information you include in your profiles and posts. Just be more mindful. Third, maybe look into privacy-focused alternative platforms if these concerns are really significant for you. Fourth, regularly review your privacy settings. Seriously, they change frequently, often without big announcements. And maybe most importantly, just be incredibly mindful of what you share publicly. Assume, maybe as a default, that anything you post publicly could be used for AI training somewhere down the line.
Okay, so let's try and summarize the key takeaways from this deep dive. Yes, your social media posts are absolutely being used to train AI models. That's happening. Explicit permission often isn't required. Your data is typically collected via opt-out settings, often buried deep in terms of service. While you can often opt out, the options vary wildly by platform and region, and critically, might only apply to future data use, not retrospectively. And the implications are significant, right? From privacy exposure to the very real challenge of AI learning from flawed or biased data, and just this general lack of control over your own personal contributions.
That's right. The current landscape really does place the burden squarely on you, the individual user, to protect your privacy. And as AI systems become more sophisticated, more commercially valuable, the incentive for companies to harvest this kind of training data from social media, well, it's only going to increase.
So think about it. Your digital footprint has inherent value, not just to you, but definitely to the companies shaping the future of AI. This raises an important question. What does it truly mean to be a digitally literate citizen in this new age? And how intentional will you be going forward about what you share? This conversation, well, it's really just beginning, isn't it? And your awareness is the first absolutely crucial step.
The future of artificial intelligence is unfolding, and it's happening at AI World Week, the flagship global event for innovation, collaboration, and transformation. This flagship global AI event is designed to connect visionary leaders, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and influential thinkers to explore the endless possibilities of AI. Experience groundbreaking technology that redefines industries and inspires progress. Join thought-provoking discussions on ethical AI, digital equity, and the transformative role of technology in our world. Build meaningful connections that catalyze innovation and drive impact. AI World Week is powered by AI World Society, a global movement dedicated to advancing AI responsibly and ensuring it serves humanity. Together, we're shaping a smarter, more inclusive, and equitable future. Continue your journey beyond the event with the AI World Journal, offering expert insights, in-depth analysis, and the latest trends shaping the AI landscape. This is your opportunity to lead, to innovate, and to transform the world with AI. AI World Week. We invite you to join us and embrace the AI revolution.